Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor Comblouzier, a mining analyst at Red Cloud Securities. This session of our Oktoberfest Fall Mining Showcase will feature St. Anthony Gold Corp. St. Anthony Gold Corp is focused on resource delineation and exploration at its St. Anthony Gold Project in northwestern Ontario, where it has an option to earn up to 100% interest. It also owns interest in the Panama Lake project. From the company, we have with us Peter Wilson, CEO and Director. I'll note that if attendees have any questions, just type them in using the Q&A link and we'll get to them during the presentation. I'll note that this corporate presentation is available on the conference website as well as the company's website. And with that, I'll turn it over to Peter to walk us through the story.
Thanks very much, Taylor. How are you today?
Doing well, thanks.
Good. As everyone can see, the presentation is now live on the website and it's in front of us here. I'm usually not one to walk through a page by page in detail presentation, but I think most of you are familiar with the story, as we've now changed our name from Maxtec Ventures to St. Anthony Gold Corp to more represent the focus of the company. The two main assets of the company are obviously the St. Anthony mine and surrounding mines within its land holdings and with its joint venture partner. Thanks, Dave. And the Panama Lake project, which we explored back in 2020. So with St. Anthony, obviously, this is a property that has historic production, high grade. At one point, it was the largest producing mine in Ontario, but that's back in the 40s. The last drilling, other than what we're currently doing now, concluded a non-compliant resource of approximately 1.2 million ounces and some pretty high grades. Recently, the assays that we've been pulling in represent a grade increase of about 300%. And this is due to the nugget effect of the gold and being properly assayed for that. We've got lots of plans for St. Anthony and continue drilling. So we hope to increase its non-compliant resource to, let's say between 1.2 and 3 million ounces through further drilling, which includes obviously grade increase through proper assay results, not just for continuity, but for nugget effect gold, and of course by tonnage. Just as a thumb note, obviously, the jurisdiction is amazing. There's full infrastructure and the property can be accessed year round. The Panama Lake project, we've explored a lot of renewed interest in this property. It's 11,700 hectares. It's a long trend with Great Bear's discovery. Its historic ownership and exploration includes Gold Corp, Noranda, Benton, and ourselves. And then recently, obviously, the company has noticed that Kenora Land Resources and its joint venture partner, Barrick Gold, have surrounded the asset contiguously. But that asset holds one of the densest data sets in the region. So we're very excited about moving forward with that option. Our current focus is obviously to drill 15,000 meters on St. Anthony. We're halfway through phase 1. We'll be continuing that program here shortly. We've got some great results. I think there are still some results pending on some of the reassays that have, again, come up with that 300% increase in grade. As you can see on the website and some of the pictures, there's some, pretty compelling intervals and some pretty compelling grades. So we're excited about that. Obviously, again, we're surrounded by companies that have resources and production. There's a renewed interest in the area. Lots of interesting phone calls coming through with regards to what we're doing and others in the area. That's kind of the nuts of it at the end of the day. Again, our plan is to focus on St. Anthony, create value through the increase in grade and tonnage, get to a compliant resource through a 3-phase 15,000 meter program, which we are now 50% way through phase 1, and we'll be continuing the phase 1 here with the readjustment focus on tonnage in the coming weeks. That's kind of the elevator pitch for it. Obviously, the website has this presentation on it. You can go and check out sort of more detail here. Feel free to Dave spin through a few other slides to give a more of a bigger picture of our highlights. That's a good slide there. Number 4. Again, jurisdiction is big for us. We've been very focused in the last couple of years in northwestern Ontario, and obviously our last year worth of investment has been focused on St. Anthony. I've discussed this, the exploration program and the historic partners we've had. Again, this is a historic mine. It's produced mine. 25% of what's produced out of it has been silver, but historically, from stamp milling, less than 50% of what was ever produced was reported. And as you can tell by the grade increases, obviously the technology has changed from a recovery standpoint. So we're looking at some significant historic results previously, fantastic intercepts from surface and at depth. But there's not only just the St. Anthony mine itself, there are 3 other areas. That's a great slide, stop there. There are 3 other areas where we can focus our intentions on bringing ore to surface and having it milled and being in our own production scenario at some point. If we ever get there, that'd be fantastic. But historically, if gold was not seen visually, it was tossed in a waste pile. So the property has waste piles, it has tailings that can be milled, and the company is obviously aware that all of that ore came from somewhere, which is underground, which is why we're intent on creating a resource. At the end of the day, we think this could be another mine in the area, high grade, lots of toll milling opportunities in the area, lots of opportunities for us to do it ourselves. But our current intent is to create a resource between 1 and 3 million ounces in the next 15,000 meters of drilling, which we're currently doing. Taylor, that's pretty much the elevator pitch on what we're doing.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. So we can open it up to questions now from the audience. So please submit them using the chat. To kick off, with this, with the ongoing work at St. Anthony, you've been sending a lot of your core back in for reassay. Maybe you could just, walk people through the procedure on that and how that's kind of impacted the, drill results today.
Sure. Again, historically, and this comes from the 2009 and 10 drilling program, which is approximately 5,000 meters. And they were drilling for continuity. They were doing $25 check assays and not really focused on the nugget effect of the gold. And we've now proven that. So as you can see on this slide, it went from 314 grams over half a meter. Reassays showed 160, almost a 300% increase right there. And that's a pretty picture, but this stuff is all over the place. We expect check reassays to come out, in the very near future that will show the same increase, but likely over larger intercepts. And this is stuff that has already been assayed. So this just it's a $500 program saying, you guys they didn't catch this because it's just too rich. Go back and reassay it. And again, the proof is what's already been reported here. So there's the two core things here on, obviously drilling is going to create tonnage, but the increase in grade is a massive situation for us because it's already there. It's already proven that we've been able to prove that it's obviously higher in grade. But if you look at those waste piles that we've had a report press release, 6 months ago, with respect to what's sitting there, if it wasn't visible gold in quartz, it was tossed into a waste pile. And those waste piles have sampled up to 15 grams. So that's an insane amount of gold that's just sitting on the surface, but we all know where it came from. So that's our focus, is to create that resource.
Great. Okay. And I know most of the drilling to date has been obviously that resource delineation kind of at the St. Anthony mine area, which makes sense given that's where a lot of the historical work was in drilling. Is there any of the meters dedicated to more exploration type targets in this phase of the program?
Not in this current phase. We're going to increase the tonnage here and get the check assays, for the increase on the grade side of it for the balance of the phase 1 program. Phase 2 and 3 will be definitely jumping into those other mine sites where ore was pulled and either put through the mill and made into obviously tailings that sit there at in some cases 5 grams a ton on surface, or in the waste piles, which sit, as we've discussed at a much higher grade, but in much larger chunks. So, again, we need to get tonnage, we need to get the grade, figured out so that we can get that compliant resource calc that'll, make a mark-to-market value.
Great. Okay. We do have a question coming in, just wondering if you could remind them on the historical resource, what it is, the ounces and grade, as well as where it's located.
So most of that came from the St. Anthony mine itself, and it wasn't enough of an infill drilling program. It wasn't assayed correctly. They estimated as again non-compliant. It's in all of our 4 43-101s. And then the latest one, it was dated, I think, 2015. Again, from historic drilling, 1.2 million ounces, non-compliant, I always have to say. Again, the grade we can talk about from production historically, but we're talking 6 grams, something like that. But at the end of the day, you can't rely on that. You can't rely on what was reported production-wise either. 63,000 ounces of gold and 16,000 odd ounces of silver. It's likely that it's way under-reported from the size of the tailings piles and the waste piles that are on surface.
Great. Okay. And then in terms of ongoing work, obviously you're doing a lot more comprehensive assaying of the core this time around. Is there any other kind of metallurgical work that's being planned?
It's more of a tech question, but at the same time, there's copper. Obviously, there's silver. So the focus is obviously the gold and the silver. But yes, we are assaying for those, and even within the tailings and the waste piles, those are being sampled for those as well as we speak.
Okay, great. And then I guess very quickly, we've got a few seconds left. Just turning to Panama Lake. What kind of opportunity is there? I know there was some, geophysical surveys done previously that kind of showed some potential for the future. Is that kind of where you'd go back and target those?
Great question. So above and beyond the renewed interest, we love the property. It's 11,700 hectares. We've got a great partner in Benton. It was explored but never drilled by Corp back in the day. I think there's a geophysical survey from them. There's one from Noranda. There's one from Benton. Drilling is from Noranda, Benton, and ourselves. Again, it's one of the densest data sets in the area. And obviously we're encouraged by the renewed interest in some of the joint venture deals that are going on around us and that are contiguous to us. But we've got a fantastic data set. And we look forward to exploring that property. I think the next stage of our exploration is to the southwest, in the Ben Lake area where Gold Corp was and where Noranda had been focused way back when. But Benton itself drilled a very successful program, I think, at the end of 2019, and hit gold in every single hole.
Perfect.
So lots of smoke. Very excited about it, and again, the interest. The whole trend has created a great new interest.